The name Maxwell Chikumbutso has conquered the world. The inventor of Africa's self-sufficient free energy car goes deeper on his story. Watch this.
Thank you very much for coming to our launch. I just want to acknowledge everyone who is here. Thank you for being part of us today and for being part of this great history. Thank you so much. It's something that I don't take lightly. May God bless you all. Thank you. Disclaimer, I'm not educated. So if I use broken English, just bear with me. English does not invent anything. Yes. So if you can allow me to walk with you through the journey of my life, if you can give me time, your precious time, I think by the end of this presentation, you'll be in a position of understanding where we are coming from and where we are right now. I've seen that when we met His Excellency, a lot of people, they commented, and it's unfortunate that most of them, they commented on a point where they were not informed. So if you can allow me, I would want to take you through the whole journey. Who is Maxwell, where I come from, and where we are right now. My name is Maxwell Chikumbutso. The name Maxwell was given because my name is a foreign name. It's not easy to pronounce. So I was born some 44 years ago at a farm, in a hut, the thatched huts that we find in Africa. My mom, she had some complications during the time that she was giving birth to me. So I was supposed to be killed because, that time, most of the people who were staying in the farms were foreigners, and they have the culture that if a child was to be born, for example, if the child could not cry, was supposed to be killed. So I didn't cry, and I was supposed to be killed, but my mom refused. They beat me, they did everything. I didn't cry until later on. I cried. So I'm not an easy person to bring down. All my critics, you must know that I'm not easy to bring down. I'm not boasting, but I'm telling you, this is who I am. I'm a fighter, and I don't take defeat lightly. My journey started, I think, the scientific journey started when I was around 15 years old. That's when I converted to be a Christian. I was not born a Christian, but I converted to be a Christian. So that time, I was very young, and that was the time that my education has ended. Due to some financial difficulties, I was raised by a single parent. So that resulted in me dropping off from school, and I was Form 2. I was known in the community of being a sort of like a creative kind of a person, and I was very good in making wire cars, and up to now I can make. I'm very good in that. Yeah. So my mom used to beat me because I was like a naughty boy. You couldn't even find me home. I would go to the dump sites, try to find some components, some parts that I would come and experiment and test with. But I was still blank. That was at 15 years. It all happened in 1997. Yeah, 1997. I was 17 years old, and I still remember vividly. It was on the 23rd of September. I was praying in the church at a corner. God visited me, and I heard a voice which says, "Thus said the Lord, I'm going to use you." I was given a scripture which is in the book of Isaiah 49, verse 7, which says, "Thus said the Lord, the Redeemer of Israel, and His Holy One, to him whom men despiseth, to him whom the nation abhorreth, to a servant of rulers, kings shall see and arise. Princes also shall worship because of the Lord. That is faithful, and the Holy One of Israel, and He shall choose thee." From that day, there was a man of God. Unfortunately, he's not here yet. He was preaching, and I was at the back of the church. He called me out and he said, God told you something. See me before you go. Not these modern prophets. I've seen real prophets, real men of God. That man, he took me. He's the man who mentored me. He taught me how to pray, how to talk to God. And I began to grow in both wisdom and intelligence. Just a few years later, in 1999, I did my first working prototype. It was a radio broadcasting transmitter. It was highly publicized on national television. It made waves. I was broadcasting illegally in the community that I stayed. I had my DJs. We had our slots. Some were DJs for reggae, some for Christian music. We were like that, and we were very happy. Then when the news broke out, the minister, who was the Minister of Information and Communication that time, he said, no, we have to be stopped. And we were stopped. That was it. I never got funding. I never got anything. But I still remember very well that time I could see visions. Not when I was asleep, even when I was walking. I would see circuit boards. There is no one on earth who can come and say, I taught Maxwell electronics or any other subject in engineering. God taught me, and that's a fact. So I was very interested in technology that time after the broadcasting authority, the broadcasting transmitter, and I was very prayerful. We had our group, which we called the Interdenomination Rescue Team, where different churches the youth would gather at one place, would pray. So one day there was a lady, she was invited. Her name is Rose Mazula. She was then the Broadcasting Authority director, the director of Broadcasting Authority. So when I gave a testimony, she said, no, I think I need to see you. She invited me. I went to see her. In the end, she gave me a job. I started working for her. She is the person who gave me the first introduction to a computer, Rose Mazula. So I was supporting my family, my siblings, since I was now earning. And I still remember very, very, very well that one day I saw a vision when I was at a rural community. Then people were dying. And someone was telling me that, you see, people are dying because there is no medication in this area. These diseases which are killing these people are treatable. But the medication needs to be in a refrigerator. There is no energy. That is the day God gave me the vision of harnessing natural radio waves, convert them into pure energy. And I'm proud to say that today we are the first people who have done that in the world. Like us or hate us, that's a fact. We have seen it, we have tested it, it was tested outside the country, it works. So what we have is called a microsonic energy device. But before I got to the microsonic energy device, like where we are right now, around 2013, that's 2003, that's when God gave me the vision. I started to work on it. And that time I was working on 3 projects. I began to be very much interested in radio frequencies. And I'm so good in radio frequencies. That's something that I know back to back. You cannot confuse me when you talk about radio frequencies. I've sat down with the best professors, best engineers in the world, the likes of Nassim Haramein, if you know him. I've sat down with him in the United States of America. I've sat with the likes of Michael, the great writers of science. They don't believe that I'm not educated. I'm good when you talk about radio frequencies. I'm so good in them. Most of my projects, I'm not boasting, but I'm telling you, you cannot confuse me when you talk about radio frequencies. And I'm good on them. I've started to write my new discoveries, which I believe they are going to be written in science books. They are going to change the way that we think about radio frequencies, the way that we think about energy, the laws of energy and thermodynamics, and everything. they are going to change. And we can only prove that by testing and demonstrating with the technology, and you see that it works. So that time I was working on a microsonic energy device. Before I even think of a name, the greener power off-grid machine. And I was working on my second biggest project, which was a digital navigation facilitator. That was the first big project that I did. A machine that is used it facilitates when an aircraft is landing. It calculates the position. It tells the engines the thrust to use. It calculates everything, even without the pilot. The aircraft can land autonomous. I did it in 2013. That project, I went with it to the Air Force of Zimbabwe. I went with it to the Zimbabwe Aviation Technical Training School, but unfortunately, because I'm not educated, I never got any support. That was the dead of it. Then from around 2003, that time, after the navigation facilitator, like I said, I was working on different projects at once. I abandoned the navigation facilitator, and I began to work on, to put my resources and my efforts on the greener power off-grid machine that we have today. It was not an easy journey. I went through a lot. No one can stand here today and say, I funded Maxwell. That's a lie. I funded myself through God. So I know that a lot of people, they gave me names. Some, they call me a scammer. I don't remember asking anyone for a cent. I did it myself. I started driving some combis going to Mtari, using the resources on the projects. I later left in 2007, went to South Africa, started driving some trucks cross-border. I was very young. I was funding the projects alone. Then in 2009, I was robbed in South Africa, and I was homeless for 2 weeks. I was staying in a golf club, in a golf course. No food, no shelter, no clothes. One day I had to walk from Alberton, if people know where is Alberton, to Joburg City Center. Then I met a lady who I had gave a lift before when she was coming to South Africa. That was, I think, an act of God. And she saw I was dirty. She's the lady who called my mom and said, your son is here homeless and is destitute. My mom had to raise money for bus fare for me so that I can come from South Africa to Zimbabwe. I stroked one side, the right side, the left side to say, the day that I arrived in Harare at Roadport, my brother, he was coming to fetch me, he had an accident. I was left at the Roadport alone, lying in the lawn. My brother came later in the day. He took me because I didn't have 50 cents for me to go to Kwadzana, our home. So when my mom saw me, she cried. She said, he's a dead person. It was a difficult time for the whole family. My late sister, she was still alive that time. They were praying for me. And one day I felt that I'm going to die. I called everyone and I said, please, today I'm dying, so I just want you to be with me. But before I die, please, can you take me to the church that I built when I was 15 years old? They took me, they find someone who gave them a car. They took me. I just lay my hands wherever I remembered that I laid a brick. I put cement. That was my healing. The doctor who saw me when I was sick, he put me on ECG machine. The day that he saw me well fit and alive, he said, I cannot believe this. It's only God. That is the day the greener power, the microsonic energy device, started working. From 2003 to 2009. The first working prototype, if you have got it, you can put it on the screen. That's when it started working. This was a broadcasting transmitter. This is the first greener power off-grid machine. It was a 2,000 watts. I took this machine all over the world in a backpack. The first country which heard about me was the government of Lesotho. They sent me air tickets. That was the first time I was in a plane. I went to Lesotho with my sister. She's now in England. We did a presentation. They gave me a citizenship and a 1 million deal. That was in 2009. I came back to tell my mom, A good Christian friend said, before you go to Lesotho, I want you to meet a man. I think that man, you can work with him. He introduced me to Zek Wazara, the former group CEO of Econet Wireless. He became my partner. We started a company we called Spirit Max. SAITH Group, which was his company. Max Inventions, which is my company. Then we formed Spirit Max. That was the first company that I owned in Zimbabwe. I traveled that man, and we went all over the world. He was starting a telecoms company. Then he gave me a task, and he said, Max, I want you to create a base station for me for Wi-Fi. That time, Wi-Fi could not shake hands. BT Open Zone, if you go on one base station, when you move, there will be a breakage of signal. With Zek Wazara, I did the first working prototype and the first technology that shakes hands in data, even when you're moving. It won't break, the same way the cell phones operate. Unfortunately, what happened. I think a lot of people read about how SAITH Group was liquidated. I then met a guy. I'm trying to cut it short so that at least I cannot bore you. I met a guy in South Africa. A good friend of mine took me to South Africa when I left Zek Wazara. We went for Joburg City Power to make a presentation for new and renewable energy with our small machine, the 2000 watts, that you saw. When I was in South Africa, we got a deal, but a lot of people, they want to just eat what they did not kill. So the director who was on top, he said, for me to give you a deal, you must give me something. We didn't agree, then we left. That's how I met the late Dr. Teddy D. Almeida. When I met Dr. Teddy D. Almeida, we met at church. We just heard that he's a businessman. He has got interest in new and renewable energy, aviation, and a number of things. So we introduced ourselves. Dr. Teddy D. Almeida invited us on Monday to come at his office. We went with that machine. We put it on the table, and we said, we have got this. He gave us a fan to test. We blow that fan. It was so embarrassing for us. Then he stood up and said, this machine is working. You blow the fan. How? We got a deal. But that deal never lasted because people, they started to disagree on what each and everyone was going to get. I came back to Zimbabwe. I started concentrating with my work. No one was funding me. God is so faithful. Dr. Teddy was at a certain church. Then he called me after some time. I had already forgotten about him. And he said, Max, do you remember Teddy? And I said, which Teddy? Yeah, Teddy from South Africa. Okay, now I remember. Say, how soon can you go to South Africa? Then I said, Dr. Teddy, I think I can go to South Africa as soon as I got money for transport. He said, no, my personal assistant will arrange that for you. He had a private jet. He flew his jet to South Africa. I went to South Africa. That was my first time to be in a business class through that man. When I went there, he said, how much do you want? I saw a man of God, and he told me that there is a Zimbabwean who came to your office. You must help him. I don't want anything as before in your company. I just want to help you. My first $500,000 to start SAITH Technologies came as a seed from Dr. Teddy D. Almeida. Then we started SAITH in Zimbabwe. So when we started the SAITH in Zimbabwe, we were in Bluffview that time. I was working with Pastor and other guys. Zek Wazara, I had to call him back. Koma, things now well. Can you come back? Then he came back. We started working together nicely. That time I did the first working prototype of a 0.5 megawatt that Pastor was talking about. I did a helicopter. And I did the first electric car. You can put it so that people, they can see. It was done in 2015. This was our first electric car that we did. When we did this project, it got some headlines. Yeah, God is so faithful. We saw the end of God. But, scientists, engineers, they love to be in the lab most of their time. They don't like commercialization. So we're busy perfecting. By the time the United States of America heard about us, time was already past. I only went to the United States of America in 2016 through the US Africa Business Forum with Dr. Teddy. That's my journey when I left Zimbabwe to the United States of America. I was based in California. First, we were in Santa Monica. That time, we did a lot. I started developing drones. By the time I came back to Zimbabwe, I was working on drones. To cut the long story short now, that was the journey. The reason I had to take you through, I'm not a fly-by-night person. I have history, and you can trace my history. But I am glad that today we have made it with God. It was not an easy journey. I was poisoned. It was not an easy journey. I was threatened. Pastor received one day a call. His son is in the United States of America. Someone telling him that we know where your son is in the United States of America. We're going to kill him. He called me. Max, they want to kill my son. Those are the threats that we receive day in, day out. He is there. So we have seen a lot. Energy is uncharted territory. Very, very dangerous. We lost our beloved ones. We went through hell, but by the grace of God, we are here. So today, I am going to take you through what God gave us. This thing is revolutionizing the whole industry of energy. We are the first people in the world to have managed to tap into little energy, which is measured in microvolts, convert it into energy that can kill even an adult. We are talking of megawatts of power. We have done it. The microsonic energy device, as I said, it is a device that uses natural radio waves and convert them into pure, useful energy. 70% of the components are tailor-made. I'm the one who designed them. They are under my name. The microsonic energy device, like Pastor said, it is not a device. Okay, let me rephrase. We are not making cars, but we have got a solution that can make cars drive unlimited driving ranges until you are tired. We have got a device that we are now, when we started, I think you saw the 2,000 kilowatts, the half a megawatt, what did you put? It was big, 17 tons machine. Right now we are reducing. We've got a device that can power a television. We've got a device that can power small appliances. This was a gigantic 500 kilowatts power station, 15 tons. This is the machine that Foster Gamble came and tested with his scientists from the United States of America. To those who doesn't know Foster Gamble, he is a billionaire in America. He is the heir of Procter & Gamble. We are talking of people who have got money. So I don't know people when they comment, where are they getting that kind of information? We are like beggars. We're not beggars, no. We are surrounded with rich people. So I want to unveil the microsonic energy device, and you are the first people in the world, after Foster Gamble, who are seeing what is the microsonic energy device and how it looks like. The first machine that recharges itself with the battery management system that we put. It is a very, very intelligent pass-through system where you can recharge the battery and getting current from the battery at the same time. Those are some of the things that we've managed to do, which were called impossible to do. So this is the microsonic energy device, ladies and gentlemen. This is the machine. I'll switch it on for you. You are going to see for the first time this machine recharging itself right now, harnessing energy. It tells you how much energy it is harnessing in watts form and how much it is putting in the machine. So I'm just waiting that they can give me something so that I can switch it on. The reason we put it in the glass, we wanted you to see that. I saw that a lot of people, they said, there's solar panel. Yeah, I'll get to that. You can see it's not connected to anything. It's okay. The microsonic energy is now on. It's analyzing. You see, it's charging itself. As you can see, the battery is now going up. You see? This device can last for 20 years. We are privileged that we are the first people to have this solution in the whole world. I'm so happy. I've got friends who came from Switzerland. I am so happy that I've got friends who came from the United States of America to just support us. So, ladies and gentlemen, I give you the microsonic energy device. Now the power is in your hands. You don't need a grid anymore. You don't need any external recharging system. As long as God is still alive and the radio waves are still there, being emitted from the galaxy, the sun, you still have your energy. This is free energy. So if you hear people saying there is no free energy, there is free energy. We have violated the natural laws of science with this machine. So I'm very happy when I see this machine. It was a very long journey. Like I said, not easy to walk. Trying to protect it. We tried to file a patent. It was not easy. We went as far as London. It was not easy. People would say, these guys are crazy. How can you say that you can violate the natural laws of physics? I'll tell you something that is very interesting. There was a war that happened between Nikola Tesla and his employer, Edison Thomas. Edison Thomas was busy making DC generators, and the whole of New York was crowded with wires. It was so dark. Nikola Tesla managed to invent a technology that can transmit energy with thin wires on a very long distance at a very, either you increase the frequency or you decrease the frequency. It depends where the energy is going. Edison Thomas had to take elephants and executed them, just trying to prove that it was dangerous. But Nikola Tesla stood, and today he is known as the father of electricity. When Henry Ford said everyone must own a car, there was war again between him and the horse breeders. The horse breeders say, no, right now we cannot get money from breeding the horses, whatever. There was war. So what we have, don't even be surprised why we are attacked left, right, and center. It is like that. This is something new. But we are trying to penetrate in a world that has got its own ways of thinking, its own ways of doing things. And a lot of people, they're trying to protect their interests. We have got the oil cabals who see this as a threat. Imagine if you're driving a car for 20 years and never refuel every day. Just imagine. When we went to Kaya, can you put the pictures? When we went to Kaya, I saw so many questions. The first company that I approached was BYD. I've got a technology, ladies and gentlemen. Can you work with me? No, we are not taking new projects. It's okay. I went to NEO. No, we are not taking any new projects. So one of the engineers at NEO, he gave me a business card after the meeting, and he said, please call me. I called him and he said, I've got a friend, I think he can help you. We went to the same university. I was still in China. Then he linked me to that guy. They make body parts for different cars in China. So when I explained to him over the phone, you know, I'm coming from Zimbabwe, I've got this kind of a technology, so I'm trying to see which company I can work with. That guy said, are you able to fly to my province? I want to link you to someone who can help you. Then I committed myself. I went to that province. He took me to his friend again, who is the director of KAIA. I explained to them, we were in a board, and I was the only black person. You can see the pictures. You can see when the cars were being developed. When I was leaving, my translator said, the Chinese didn't like you. They think that you are joking. You're not making sense. I had money in my pocket. I gave them in the car, and I said, please, just pay them. If I'm going to lose my money, it's okay. If they can do it with my money, I'll be so happy. By so doing, the next day, an agreement was sent. I signed an agreement. We started production of the cars. We never bought the cars. We make the cars with KAIA. The cars remain KAIA cars. What we are using in the cars is our technology. On Friday, I got a message from KAIA. They said, people from all over the world are calling us and saying, how much are your electric cars? We said, no, we don't have those free energy electric cars. There are only 2 in Zimbabwe. That's a fact. There are so many Zimbabweans who called KAIA trying to find out if I was bogus. And I was told, it's sad. It's so sad. It's so sad. But we thank God that we're here today. We have the first car in the world that doesn't need external recharging system. We are going to use that car to power some appliances. You can drive that car to your house. You can connect and power your house. Instead of drawing power from your house, it's now vice versa. The game has changed. We have done it. We went further to do a motorbike. We partnered other companies again. We did motorbikes. They have the same working principle. Now you can take your motorbike. You can even cook from your motorbike. You can put your stove in a backpack. We have done it. We have done TVs that we have. And we thank God for everything. Why I had to say this, I wanted you to understand there was a misconception. We don't make cars, we're an energy, new and renewable energy company. We make solutions that can change any car, being it Mercedes-Benz, being it Hyundai, whatever car that you have, that you can think of. We can make retrofits where you can just buy the kit, convert your own car, then you know that you're okay. That's what we have done.
Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video informative, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update on the stories that shape our world. This is Adaka Africa, bringing you the geopolitics you need to know. See you in the next one.